Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Well, that was a movie.
Hello, welcome back to First Thoughts. I'm Simon. This is Justin. And we saw a good movie. Holy shit. We saw a good movie. Today, we're giving our first thoughts on one battle after another. We may or may not like it. Who knows? It's written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall, Tiana Taylor, Chase Infinity, who never seen before, seems to be fairly new to the scene. She has a fairly large role in this and was great. The whole cast, oh my god, the whole cast is great. The directing. I forgot for a moment what it was like to watch a movie with a great director attached to it. I loved this movie so much. Justin, how we feeling?
This was phenomenal. Now, I guess outside of There Will Be Blood, I don't know if I've seen any Paul Thomas Anderson movies.
I was going to ask if you had seen any, because he doesn't seem like the type of director that you would have a whole lot of experience with.
I'm glad to have started with There Will Be Blood, because that has provided me and my friends with endless quotables. Endless.
You've got a milkshake. I've got a milkshake. And I've got a straw, see? And the straw reaches
Way over there.
And I drink your milkshake. I drink it up! And we just saw that meme where it was like, why don't I own this? Me, every time I get on Amazon, why don't I own this?
Yeah, I feel like I was like everyone else who heard about this movie and not having seen Licorice Pizza before.
Good.
You had me at Leo.
Sure,
And you didn't have to say
sure.
anything else. I didn't really hear anything else after Leo, so
Yeah.
I was in there, and wow, great other stuff too.
It was the Leo PTA for me. Like, I was like, that combination I need to see. And I knew PTA was on thin ice for me, but I'm like, I'm willing to give him another chance. And he's with Leo. I just kind of want to see everything Leo does anyway, you know, especially because There Will Be Blood is great and all, but I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis is one of the greatest actors of our lifetime, and delivered maybe, in my mind, his best performance in that movie. That's highly debatable. He has so many great performances, but that one's probably my personal favorite. And now Leo is one of the other greatest actors of our generation, certainly one of the greatest American actors. There's so many great European actors. But as far as American go, I'm pretty sure most people just say Leo. I guess some people go the Tom Hanks route, but like Leo is...
Yeah, generally.
Yeah. And so I was like, I need to see him under this direction, you know, because like, you know, Leo, sure, he does great performances when he works for Scorsese or whoever, like, and he's worked with a lot of great directors, but I was like, I need to see this combination. I need to see it right now. I need to see this yesterday, you know, so, which we did. We saw it yesterday. But, yeah, no, I was on board. I didn't know exactly, even after seeing the trailers, I couldn't exactly tell what the plot was. I just knew there was a missing daughter involved. I went, what is this taken? But I don't care. I'm just going to see it because of who's doing it, you know?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we should kind of back up and do this review like we normally do. Just warning you, by the way. So our reviews are typically about half as long as the movie we're reviewing. So this is going to be an hour and a half review.
Yeah, we got all night with this one.
No, but okay. So essentially, Leonardo DiCaprio's character gets into some light terrorism because of a hot woman. Haven't we all? It's funny, like, it's supposed to be the first couple of scenes are 15 years earlier, so it's like young Leo, and it's like all they did was give him a hoodie.
Yeah.
It's like his Saw, where they just put the baseball cap on him and said, yeah, he's young, right? They just gave him a hoodie, and it was 15 years ago. But regardless, a younger Leo falls in love with this terrorist girl, and so becomes a terrorist by association, kind of, is the vibe I get. I don't know if he was already, but he's definitely less serious about the organization than she is, for sure.
Yeah.
And then because of that fallout, then he and their daughter, they have to go into hiding. And then now we jump forward 15 years and shenanigans ensue from there, including the craziest cop you'll ever see, played by Sean Penn, a karate instructor played by Benicio del Toro. Just a whole great cast of characters. And yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to describe the plot beyond that. Even describing the movie is difficult because what does IMDb say the genre of this movie is? Okay, it does. Dark comedy is the second genre. I was going to say, this is a comedy. Paul Thomas Anderson movies, frankly, actually, not, maybe usually is a strong word. And I'm also speaking semi out of my ass because, like I said, I haven't seen a lot. But a lot of his movies I know he describes as comedies, even though other people don't. Kind of like how Ari Aster talks about his movies. And he's like, yeah, Beau is Afraid, comedy. Eddington, sure, I can see how that's a comedy. But a lot of his movies, you're like, that's a comedy? That's kind of how Paul Thomas Anderson has talked about his movies. I know Punch Drunk Love, he's described as a comedy, even though Adam Sandler was like, yeah, I was doing a drama finally. And I was like, I wrote a comedy, you know? So a lot of his movies are very that tongue-in-cheek. Honestly, a lot of this movie, it was like it was written to be funny, but then the actors were told it wasn't funny and just act out a ridiculous scripted moment, or even a lot of just the names of characters were hilarious. And then they're just acting like it's all normal. Like, you've got characters like Lockjaw, and you've got characters like Toe Jam, and just like, and Kringle was the name of a character, you know? And it's like...
Well, of course it was Kringle.
Yeah, and it was just like, it's just really, really funny. And I know I've thrown this out a couple times recently, reminding me of Coen Brothers back when they were good. This is a Coen Brothers-esque style movie, too. Once again, though, backing up, I have such a limited perspective still on Paul Thomas Anderson that maybe this is just what his movies normally feel like. I still don't know, but whatever it is, whatever we got, I adored it. And there was a moment, probably 2.5 hours in, because this movie is 2 hours 45 minutes, I think, somewhere in that ballpark.
250, I think, is right under 3, I think.
And
Crazy.
I had a moment where I went, I feel like I'm watching Taxi Driver right now. Not saying that it reminds me of Taxi Driver plot-wise or direction, anything specific like that. I meant, like, I feel like I'm watching a classic as it's coming out. And I don't know that's going to be the case as far as, like, public opinion or pop culture. I don't know. It's too early to predict with that. But for me, where I'm sitting, this is possibly an all-time great movie. This was really good to me. Like, really good across the board. And you're looking blankly like you disagree.
I'm trying to think, all-time great? I do like it a lot. I mean...
I'm not saying this is top 10 movies of all time. I'm saying this is, like, to me, when you go back and make a top 10 list for the decade, this might be in that.
Potentially. I gotta look back at the filmography just to refresh my head.
Sure.
But might be my favorite Leo movie in quite some time.
Ooh.
And it's not like I've been disappointed by his movies.
No.
I've enjoyed, I believe, all of them. But
Colors of the Flower Moon was just last year, and that was a great movie. But yeah, this might be better than that. It's first thoughts. It's always a gut reaction, and I know we had a little bit of a buffer to cool down, but yeah, I'm always afraid of overreacting. But if I'm overreacting, I'm happy about it. I had a great time.
I should watch both of those again sometime. I mean, I gotta watch this again.
Both of those?
This and
Killers
of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely have to watch this a few more times. There's a ton of people who are gonna want to see this. But
yeah, phenomenal movie. We mentioned just a few hours ago. When we were talking about, I think it was when we were talking about him. It was one of those.
Yeah.
Where I said, when you're bored by a movie, you're going to nitpick it. And there will be things that you wouldn't mention while reviewing a good movie.
Yeah.
That if it's a bad movie, you're just going to pile on to with these other nitpicks. And there was, like, moments in this where I was like, if I wasn't having such a damn good time, I would probably point out, like, a pacing thing here or there. Like, this movie is almost 3 hours, like we said.
Yeah.
Did it have to be? No.
No.
Was I upset it was? Hell no. I enjoyed the whole thing. Like, there was a moment where we get an additional scene with a character I do not really understand why we had that scene. I think the movie would have been perfectly fine, if not better, without that scene. But I'm like, I enjoyed every second of runtime, so am I really going to complain that there's an extra scene here? No. It was a great scene. To me, I didn't know why it was there. But, like, I'm not complaining about that either. If it was a bad movie, I'd be like, you're making me sit through another scene. But
It's
here
nearly 3 hours long.
Yeah. But no, with this movie, I'm like, hell yeah, give me another scene. I'll watch it. I will. So, yeah, I guess this is probably the best movie of the year, huh?
Probably, yeah. I do want to rewatch Warfare, which was my number one movie.
Yeah.
Still going into this. Yeah, this is probably going to end up beating that.
Yeah. The top few being like Warfare or for me Presence
Yeah.
and Friendship. And I'm like, those are all really good movies. And they're all so different. It's going to be so hard to compare them. But like, this was just bordering on flawless to me. Like, it really was. And I'm not going to give it a 10 or anything because I don't want to do that right away. But I'm 8.5. Easy, safe 8.5 right now for me.
You know what? I'll be crazy.
Oh.
Go the 9.
Holy shit, we got a 9! I'm not mad at you for saying that. I'm not. I had reasonably high expectations, I think, for this. And they were blown out of the water within the first hour, I would say. Like, we were an hour and a half through the movie, and I leaned over to you and I said, we're only halfway through. And you're like, really? I'm like, yeah. And I'm not mad. Because we already felt like we'd watched so much. Granted, it was an hour and a half. That's a movie.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm so excited we get to still watch another whole movie right now. That's this. I'm excited. Like, I'm happy we're only halfway through. I kept noticing how great the camera work looked. Obviously, all of the acting is phenomenal. And sure, Leo and Del Toro, sure. Sean Penn, hell. Sean Penn, I thought, as much as everybody's going to be talking about Leo, I'm taking away Sean Penn probably the most. I loved Sean Penn in this. Probably a little bit caricature-y compared. Leo's more real feeling, but Sean Penn was phenomenal in his own way. But everybody was. Like, even like the brand new girl I'd never heard of before. And also her mom, not familiar with that actress either. And she was good. Although we were saying, I swear this role was written for Rihanna. And she just was unavailable for some reason because I was like, this is Rihanna. This is.
It's bad girl Riri.
Even the action was fun. There's very little action, but even the moment. There was a stunt. Okay, this is a minor spoiler, and I hope that nobody's pissed. But I was blown away by, there was a shot where Leo falls off of a roof. And he bounces through some branches on a tree and then lands on the ground. Shot continues. He hops up and runs toward the camera so you can see his face, and then moves over and another piece of action happens.
Yeah.
So either there was a really sneaky cut in there where they replaced the stuntman with Leo and I couldn't see it, or they somehow actually got Leo to do that safely. Either way, I was blown away by that scene. Because I do not know how they did it.
I would definitely feel like it's the first one, but it would be even better if it's the second one.
Either way, because if it's not like a Texas switch. He never leaves the camera.
Right.
He never moves. Well, I mean, he moves. But he smacks down and then gets up, and maybe they CGI'd. But, like, no, because you can't CGI the face unless you're really getting that stunt double to then run over and then react to this other thing. You're not trusting that. You're letting Leo do that. So there had to be some sort of cut, or maybe there was a CGI masked cut there. I don't know how they did it, but it looked flawless, and I loved it. It was such a small moment where I was like, holy shit, that was good.
Yeah.
You know? And there was phenomenal camera work. There was phenomenal writing, plot, and dialogue. I mean, there was just like, it was like, and I hate to keep bringing them up because I just feel like I bring up the Coen brothers when there's a lot of things happening and it's very quick and complicated but fun. But like, they're the best way to kind of say that. And that's how this movie felt. I was like, there's so many plot points and characters being introduced and all this happening, yet it all felt like it came together and made sense and was entertaining and great. And I can't. We saw a good movie, Justin. We did it. We made it.
I was pleased with us.
Go! I feel like, what's his name? In Ah, fuck it. Inside Out. The imaginary friend. Like, take her to the moon for me. That's how I feel like. We made it. Ha ha. Not for everybody. Mom, you won't like this movie. The beginning's probably the weirdest, actually. If you make it past the beginning, you're okay. Because that scene was weird. It was. But once I got past that, we were good.
Don't be afraid if some things awaken in you in this movie. If you didn't understand them already about yourself.
Oh, I understood completely.
Yeah.
I teeter-tottered between, am I Leo or am I Sean? And then you said both, and I said probably. A couple of lines by Sean Penn, though, that made me want to stand up and salute, though.
Yeah, there were some choice lines.
And I'm talking early on it, because that's troublesome.
All their best lines are in the beginning of the movie.
He says some pretty racist things, and I want to make sure that we're differentiating. That's not the part I'm saluting.
No. We had the black power in the beginning. We had the white power at the end.
Sure. Anyway, we're gonna get into spoilers now. Yeah, dude, I can't wait to watch this again. Which is, when you say that about a 3-hour movie, you know it's good. Yeah, with a name like Schmuckers, it's gotta be great.
I think the only reason I may not see this in theaters again is just because my friends may see 3 hours and go, let's wait till it's at home.
Pussies,
but
if they do.
Other than that, there's, like, if this was 2.5, 2:15, no way they would ever miss it. This would be next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, guaranteed.
Yeah, this very well could be the movie of the year. Very well. Very easily could be. If it's not, we've had a great year. All right, so I think we already said it, 8.5, 9, somewhere in that range, and who knows how we'll feel a month from now. Maybe that'll go up. Like I said, I know I'm prone to overreacting, so I try to reel it back in, so maybe it could go up once I've had time to think about it. I don't know. Don't think it's gonna go down. Maybe it'll go down a tick, but it's good to great to flawless, somewhere in that range. We're getting into spoilers now, so if you don't want anything spoiled, please go watch it. Literally, they have like a showing every half hour. Find one.
Yeah, it's gotta be every single.
Yeah,
it's Leo. Come on.
Go watch it. Come back and we can talk about it then. But don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe, all of that. Thanks, guys. Bye. So, spoilers. It always makes me nervous when you watch a movie and there's people that are clearly, like the characters at the beginning are clearly terrorists, but their motives are good. And so you're just nervous when you're like, are they saying you should blow up shit? Is that the message of this movie? Mm-hmm. And then it very clearly becomes not that, because Leo mellows out with his age, you know.
Yeah.
But that it's also interesting because then there becomes commentary where he thinks the guy he's talking to on the phone later is younger. He's clearly not. Mm-hmm. But he thinks he's younger, and he's so pissed because he's like, the new age movement isn't radical enough or isn't motivated enough, and they're too worried about nitpicking what words you use and stuff. I was like, that's such fun commentary, and it's partially the old man yelling at clouds and me. But it feels that way where it's like, part of the reason nothing gets done anymore is the activism is so stupid oftentimes. And I'm like, part of me is like, agrees with Leo where like, sometimes you need to blow shit up, but I'm like, but you shouldn't. But doing what you're doing isn't helping either. So it's a fun little political satire.
Hey,
along with everything else.
He should have remembered what time it was.
Yes.
Okay?
That was funny. It was very amusing. There were so many hilarious moments in this movie. And the parts of Sean Penn that I'm agreeing with, by the way, is when he talks about how amazing black women
I
are.
love black women.
Yeah, he's like, love black women. I was like, hell yes. And Leo, too. Leo
Yeah.
was like, you like black women? He's like, of course I love black women.
You think I love
Why do you think I'm here?
Of course I love black women.
I was just like, I feel so represented right now.
Like, interracial people, stand up. Our parents are getting made on that screen right there. Especially me.
That was literally the first thing. I was like, is this how your parents?
Yes, this is how they got together.
It was also really interesting, too, because like they were all multifaceted characters, which is something I feel like I shouldn't have to say, but when you watch movies like we were just talking about earlier, where it's like characters, it's so easy to write these one-note characters, and if they had written the mom character to be this one note where she's just a, a political terrorist who's just really crazy and just over the top, it would have been really easy to write her that way. But they made her nuanced anyway. And they had her recognize her flaws, but also struggle with them, especially she had like postpartum depression. And that was a really interesting thing that they brought into this character to make her three-dimensional and well-rounded. That wasn't necessary, but you added that because it's just a good script with good characters.
Yeah, no, it definitely may not have been necessary, but it did make a lot.
It added so much,
just because the mother, after the postpartum depression, she leaves to go back to her revolutionary ways because the home life isn't for her.
Right.
And she never comes back because, as we learn, she gets caught, she gets a deal, and she rats.
Out, yeah.
And gets a bunch of people killed and captured. And
then after she gets placed, what is the word I'm looking for? She gets placed somewhere.
Oh, yeah, she goes to the WITSEC.
But then she doesn't want to be there, so then runs away again.
And then
disappears.
That's the end of that.
And they don't know where she is because they say some people say Cuba, some people say Argentina. I forget where else they said. I think it was Cuba and Argentina.
But like her just running off without any of that stuff, without seeing the postpartum, without seeing some care in the daughter, as that we gets revealed later on in the story, it would just she wouldn't be memorable at all, except for the sexuality.
Yeah.
No, that'd be memorable.
There would be certain things that are memorable about her, but
she's
but no, she becomes a real person.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like I said. It's not just these stereotypes. And same thing with Leo, where it could be he's just this pussy that wants to get laid and so does whatever. Because we've seen plenty of movies like that where there's a guy we just saw in Eddington where one of the characters all he wants is to get with a girl and based on her reaction to him dictates his politics. Because that's really common. Frankly, a lot of men's politics are based off of the girl that they like. Unfortunately, that's how simple men are. Is they go, "Ooh, woman. A woman says this, we do this." And it would have been so easy to write him that way, but he had his own set of morals, and he wasn't perfect. He was definitely stupid in his own ways or whatever, but he felt real, and he was passionate. He just wasn't on the same wavelength as her, necessarily, because, like I said, he mellowed out and also was an alcoholic and pothead.
A drug addict.
Yeah, pothead.
Now, mostly just pot, but he did mention other drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just she couldn't give up the life and didn't really love what pregnancy and motherhood was doing to her at that time.
Yeah. Also, I feel like she was losing the plot too, because like they go from like bombing things and freeing. They go from like freeing immigrants to bombing things, which is sure a natural progression, maybe.
It depends on what you're bombing.
And then they rob a bank, and it's like, what does this do for anybody? It was just that solely was for power.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, okay, blowing up places. They had some of the targets. They didn't really go over all the targets. They were kind of montaging it. But, like, a couple of them seemed like they were on their political wavelength.
Yeah.
A bank, I don't see anything against their political ideology against robbing a bank. Now, they didn't say, like, we're going to give it to the people. They said, they had the one girl come in and say it was, like, funding her. Maybe if someone else was the spokesperson, it would have been a bit clearer. I just feel like they were robbing it to get cash for operations, and it's a bank. Even if it's people's money in the bank, most people are going to be insured for their amount of money.
Yeah,
and the people who who can't have that level of insurance, they're probably the targets anyway.
Yeah. It's the difference between somebody who is truly an anarchist, which they were, versus Leo, who is politically anarchist.
Yeah.
It's like you think you're aligned and then you realize, oh, they are further than we are in a lot of ways. And so it's like I said, he kind of mellows out and becomes a little more normal.
Listen, they got a kid. Somebody's got to be there with her.
Your priorities change.
Yeah.
They do.
And she wasn't ready for that.
Yeah. And also, as you get older and, times change, like, he's still, like, even though he's very liberal, he's uncomfortable by, like, new age liberalism with like the gender norms
Hey,
and stuff, and
he's trying. He doesn't want to get it wrong, but he's older.
and also like when he gets in the argument with the guy who's just like, you're invading my space, and he's like, we're on the phone, you fucking liberal. That was hilarious to me, because it's like, even though you may politically agree a lot, you're still just like, what is this new age bullshit? And every generation does that, but it was just like, that once again is the old man yelling at clouds in me that was like, yes. I love that line. So yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed this movie. It also, speaking, I did mention Eddington a couple times. It also reminded me of Eddington because it was similar kind of politics, sort of, and then that same sort of satire, dark comedy sort of thing.
Yeah.
Not nearly as violent as Eddington got at the end. Not nearly as ridiculous either, but similar vein.
This seemed a bit more. They're doing a lot of operations, but towards the beginning of this movie, it seemed a bit more, ragtag organization of their, political terrorism. Throughout the rest of this movie, though, the technology, the code and phrases that they have, this is like a
very extreme,
wildly sophisticated
Yeah.
couple of organizations here. And then the tracking device was interesting, but was far less utilized.
It was far less important than I thought it would be.
Yeah, because it brings the one member to save the daughter, and they get her out. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then you see Leo try to use it to track her down. Makes sense.
But it doesn't help him a whole lot.
Never is shown to help him, really.
Yeah.
He's
And
always
then
trying to,
when she passes
hold
him
it.
in the white car, I thought he would notice that, oh, the tracker was there and then it's gone. But that didn't come into play at all. And then the music made it sound, or the car, some sort of sound effect made it sound like it was beeping later. And I was like, but did she leave it in the other car? Yeah, I didn't quite follow that. There's a couple of things, but see, once again, this is where you say, like, it depends on how much you enjoy it, because you're like, they don't explain a shit ton of stuff in this movie, and I'm not mad about it. Like,
No.
Also, what the fuck was the Christmas Adventurers Club?
I am mad about that. I'm not seriously mad about that, but I did want to know. That's so funny.
It's hilarious and I love it. It's essentially just the KKK.
Yeah.
Illuminati. It's like racist Illuminati is what it is.
Oh, God.
Because it's just a group of old white guys that control all this puppetry behind the scenes, but they also are racist.
Yeah, but you gotta be not just whites, pure American.
You have to be pure
native
American.
born.
And you can't have had any affiliations or romantic affiliations with any other race. And even friendship relations or work relationships they're not against the rules, but they're frowned upon.
Mm-mm.
Like the one guy used a tracker who was Native American, and they're like, oh, that's pushing it,
I wouldn't trust him with my life or anything, but he does surprisingly good
does
work
some good tracking.
for
Yeah.
Andy. He's not native born,
Yeah, which is hilarious
Not
because
one of us.
he is much more native than they are, but okay.
The wrong kind of native.
Yeah. But yeah, so you never find out about them. And there's so many things like I said, there's so many jokes written into the dialogue or just people's names and stuff. You're waiting for that to matter, and it doesn't. The Christmas Adventurers Club has an opening because Kringle died. And you're like, Santa died? And it's like you're waiting for there to be a punchline there, and nobody addresses it. I'm like, that's hilarious. We're not going to talk about that?
And then just the little symbolism with them. Little,
It's like Illuminati Christmas trees. It was great.
Was it like Hail Christmas or Praise?
It was Hail Saint Nick.
Yeah, Hail Saint Nick.
It started sounding like they were saying Hail Satan, and then
I
it was just
swore
Hail
they were
Saint
gonna-
Nick, and I was like, what? And once again, they don't address that. They don't explain that, and it's just like, what? Because like Christmas, White Christmas, like what is it? I don't get it.
I wanted to know some more about that. I'm not mad because it's not like the other movie where it expects me to know, where it expects me to be comfortable with literally everything in the third act being like that. But no, that was fucking hilarious.
It really comes down to how much you enjoy the movie. You're just willing to. You don't mind that stuff.
I'm sitting in the movie like CAC. Is that something? Christmas effect? Caucasian? No, there's no U.
And this is why I said it kind of had that like Coen Brothers style humor where there's things like you're expecting a big moment and then it has like such a funny anticlimactic thing to it.
Yeah.
Like, so Benicio del Toro is running this whole underground they call it like a Mexican railway kind of thing, you know, like underground railway thing. And so he's hiding a bunch of people, and then they're getting swatted essentially because they know that Leo's with him. Yeah. So he has to hide all these other people while also trying to get Leo out. So he puts these like 3 skater parkour guys in charge of him and says like, go onto the roof, take him across the street. And so they're like, okay. And then they start like stepping timing over the fucking rooftops, which I was like, this has to be a Mary Poppins reference. I don't know, maybe it wasn't. There was also a musical cue that was straight from Wizard of the Oz. It was for like 5 minutes. I'm like, that has to be on purpose anyway. But they're just like parkouring over shit, and he's just like falling over it, which is a constant joke throughout, is he can never actually just do something athletic. He's always falling or trying to do something.
He's been sitting around for like 16 years now, you know. Gone are the days where he's fucking all the time and building bombs.
And so then at one point they all just jump over the edge, and he just goes over and falls, not realizing that they gapped a building.
I was waiting for a gap to happen, because it's like, obviously he's not making it across even a small gap.
Yeah. So he just jumps right off the building and then through the tree branches and smacks on the ground. And I died at that. This movie was so perfectly timed with the humor and the pacing of the story as well. And I really can't complain, man.
And then they topped it with him getting back up, starting to run away, and getting immediately tased as just one of the protesters. Or one of the
immediately
migrants.
I thought it was like the bad guys got him, you know.
I thought so too. And
then it was just, nope, it was the cops were just like, yep, you're part of it.
He's just in a riot.
Yeah.
What's your name? The Parker. Peter Parker. Batman!
What's your last name? I don't know. Batman. But there was also some just really interesting choices visually in this movie that I loved, and they just stood out, and that's why you're like, there's great filmmakers involved in making this, because it's so easy to just do the cookie cutter, make it look like a commercial film. And there's so many moments where it's like somebody put this aside to do it differently for a reason, you know? And one of those moments was when Regina Hall's character, I forget her name, but she comes to get the girl at the high school. There's just one shot, and you can kind of see her face in the mirror, but it's mainly just focused on her, and the whole conversation is just this one steady shot. And I wonder if they shot reverses and then just decided in the editing room, we're just sticking with this one take. But it was awesome how they did that. And then there was also this other shot where, same thing, both characters are sitting there, and it's like oddly quiet, and they're like, I'm gonna go check, stay here, or like just stay here. And then she leaves, and it cuts to this like semi-wide of her sitting there, and you just see soldiers go by the window real quick and really silently, and it was just like such a cool little shot that I adored. And then they come in the door, and it's like an opposite jump scare, because you see it coming, but it's still just like she doesn't, and it's just a great little moment. And there was shots like that throughout the movie where I'm like, they did this differently than most people would, and it worked so well. And I adored that. So Sean Penn's character.
Man after all of our hearts. Get yourself...
Well, you keep saying that. He was very racist. Or at least he was pretending to be racist to fit in.
Listen. She broke his heart.
It happens.
Yep.
It happens. But yeah, he's the thing that I was talking about where I felt like we had one too many scenes with him, because he gets shotgunned in the face, seemingly dies, and then they bring him back just to have the Christmas gang kill him.
Again.
And I'm like, they were already the people that killed him the first time. Why did we need to do that again? And that's where, if it was a worse movie, I'd complain, but I liked the scene. It was a cool scene where they give him the office. Yeah. His face is fucked up from the shotgun. There was some cool makeup there. And then they just gas him. And there's something poetic about the gassing.
And cremation afterwards,
and I just like, yeah, sure. Put him in an oven. And it was just, it was a good scene. It just, to me, I was like, why did we have that?
Yeah,
it was fine leaving him dead, right?
It was kind of odd after.
It was a bit redundant.
Especially just for it to be the same people and not just like an offshoot of the 75.
Yeah, I thought they brought him back so that Leo could kill him. But I'm glad they didn't, because I'm glad that Leo wasn't the killer.
I didn't think it would be Leo, but like if it wasn't going to be the Christmas crew again, I figured it'd be some other revolutionaries or something.
Or the daughter, maybe.
Somebody connected, but not...
Yeah.
particularly them, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
I do like
Christopher
leaving
Crew back
Leo
again.
not a killer, though.
No, that makes sense.
You know?
Although, we just really didn't discuss if anyone died in his bombings.
Yeah.
He made all of those.
They most of the bombings he himself set off.
And I'm assuming
were
made because we kept seeing him make bombs.
Yeah, were non-violent. Now, there was the courthouse bombings, but
there was
that
a couple of bombings of buildings. It was night.
Sure.
We were never told there was anybody, and we never were told there was casualties.
It seemed like he wanted to avoid casualties or injuries even. I don't know. I liked how they wrapped up his character.
Yeah, no, I think he wrapped up well.
Yeah.
Daughter wrapped up pretty nicely too. I mean, because it's never discussed, and I thought it would be discussed.
Yeah.
Now I knew it would never be important, of course. Leo raised her.
Yeah.
We find out that there's a chance that she could be Leo's kid or she could be Sean Penn's character's kid. And then it gets confirmed she is indeed Sean Penn's character's kid. I thought Leo would find out somehow in some way. Maybe someone will try to use it against him. Maybe he just finds out accidentally. Maybe she blurts it out when they're fighting or something. And then, of course, it wouldn't matter. You know, I mean, I raised you. I'm your father. I don't care.
Yeah. I didn't think he would find out. I thought they would show her choosing not to tell him, which I get the impression she chose not to tell him because she was like, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I also think she
shouldn't
didn't tell
affect him either. But I thought we would see that decision being made, and we
Yeah.
didn't. So, hell, there's a nitpick if we really want one. But
But,
I mean, does that make me like the movie less? No.
I mean, she's still with him at the end.
Yeah.
She's still going out and doing her own things from him.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed the movie. When Benicio showed up, I legitimately thought he was just a cameo for one scene. Went, haha, that's funny. And then he kept coming back. And I was like, oh, great. Good. Love him. He had some of the best lines, honestly, actually.
He was great. He just flowed into every single scene. It was just picking off things to do. Everyone would just run up to him. It's like, all right, now take care of that, take care of that. Hey, and this guy. Come on, chill, man. Get off the phone real quick.
Yeah.
Come meet the kid over here.
Dude, Leo trying to charge his phone for like 3 scenes was hilarious.
Oh, my
He
gosh.
just kept plugging in and like, all right, over here. Like, fuck. Over here. We'll probably just cut it there because I just want you to see it.
Highly recommended.
It's, once again, it's not for everybody. This is not a movie for my mom, you know. It's, you know, there's weird stuff. Like we said, that first scene, that was the only part during the movie where I went, oh no, am I not going to like this? Was when, like, they're going through the camp, and then it makes sense with the characters in the long term, but at first it was just so out of left field where she was like, get up. And he starts to get like, I didn't say stand up. I said get up. And she makes him get a boner, and then that ends up ruining her whole life because her messing with him ended up making him obsessed with her, and then he chased her down forever. I'm not blaming the victim. But, like, that moment was the catalyst. And in the moment, I was like, this is such a weird scene. But it was the catalyst that made the entire movie happen.
Yeah.
So, in the moment, I was like, that's weird. So, if you can get past that scene, that's as weird as the movie gets. So, if that scene makes you uncomfortable, sorry. But after that, I think you're good, you know?
Listen, if being submissive to a...
Strong black woman?
Yeah, to a strong
If that
black
makes you
woman.
uncomfortable, you and I do not have a lot in common. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, sharing, supporting, subscribing, following, rating, all the things you can do. Thanks for doing them, except for commenting mean things. Please don't do that. And also thank you, Paul Thomas Anderson, Leo, all of you guys. Thank you. Honestly. Thank you. It was funny. Recently, I was talking to a friend, and I forget what movie he was talking about, but he said, it made me excited about movies again, and I laughed. This made me excited for movies again, man. Nothing like a great fucking movie, dude.
Hey, don't you worry. I'm sure maybe next week, maybe the week after, we'll see something to
We'll be
kill
back
that
to
fate.
shit. Yeah, let's do it all over again. Cinema, baby.